Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into a blockbuster of a topic, the showdown between the rising BRICS Plus bloc and the entrenched G7 over control of global trade. It's a high-stakes game that impacts everything, from the coffee in your morning cup to the smartphone in your hand. We've distilled thousands of words of research into a dramatic, easy-to-follow journey, and don't worry, we keep every stat and fact intact. So grab a seat, smash that like button if you're excited, and let's jump right into this global economic power struggle. Setting the stage, BRICS Plus rising. First off, who are we talking about? BRICS originally stood for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But in 2024, they added Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, forming the larger BRICS Plus bloc. Together, BRICS Plus now represents nearly 30% of global GDP and over 3.2 billion people, which is about 40% of the entire world's population. Compare that to the G7, United States, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, and Japan, about 800 million people total. That's nearly 4x fewer people than BRICS Plus. Now add this, BRICS Plus economies are growing faster, with average growth rates around 3.5%, while the G7 struggles at 1.5%. Did you know? In purchasing power terms, BRICS already beat the G7 in 2023, 31.5% versus 30.7% of global GDP, according to IMF estimates. And that was before the expansion. With the new members added, that gap just widened. Let us know in the comments, did this scale of BRICS Plus surprise you? Economic power and growth. Let's dig into the economic strength of both camps. The G7 economies produced around $55 trillion in GDP in 2024. That's about 30% of global GDP. But these economies are mature, slower growing, and face demographic challenges like aging populations. Now, contrast that with BRICS Plus, also at $55 trillion in 2024 GDP, but with 4 times the people, younger populations, and much faster growth. Here's a stat that might make your jaw drop. According to EY India, BRICS Plus' share of global merchandise exports jumped from 10.7% in 2000 to 23.3% in 2023, while G7's share dropped from 45.1% to 28.9%. That's not just a shift, that's a transformation. In fact, BRICS Plus is expected to overtake the G7 in total trade by 2026. If that surprises you, go ahead and hit that like button. We've got strategies and financial tools. Now, let's look at how these blocks are building influence. BRICS Plus game plan. At the heart of BRICS Plus strategy is China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a $1 trillion mega project that's building roads, ports, and railways across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Critics call it debt trap diplomacy. But for many developing nations, BRI is the only infrastructure funding they're being offered. And then there's the New Development Bank, NDB, created in 2015, which has already approved $32 billion in loans for everything from Brazil's railways to India's clean energy. They're also pushing currency alternatives. China and Russia now do almost all their trade in yuan and rubles, 95% as of late 2023. India and Iran? Trading in rupees. Central banks are stocking up on gold. Russia has over 2,300 tons, China close to 2,000 tons. The message is clear. They want less dependency on the US dollar. G7's countermoves. G7's tools? They're old school, but powerful. SWIFT controls 90% of global payment traffic. IMF and World Bank, dominated by G7 voting power. The US dollar, still the king. Used in 88% of forex trades and 47% of global reserves. And when G7 countries sanction others, like freezing $300 billion of Russian assets in 2022, that financial power becomes very real. So it's not just about infrastructure, it's a battle of systems. The dollar and de-dollarization. Let's zoom in on the dollar war. This is what experts call de-dollarization, and it's one of the hottest financial trends of the decade. Since 1999, The dollar's share in global reserves dropped from 71% to around 47% in 2025. Meanwhile, China's yuan rose from under 1% to 4% of global payments by 2024. More countries are trading in local currencies, like Brazil-China in reals versus yuan, or India-Russia in rupees versus rubles. Add gold reserves to the mix, and you can see what's happening. They're insulating themselves from dollar-linked risks. Still, the dollar isn't dead, far from it. It still dominates 80% of all world trade. But cracks are forming. A more multipolar system may emerge over the next 5 to 10 years. Drop your take in the comments. Would a weaker dollar help or hurt your country? Geopolitical flashpoints. This battle isn't just about numbers. It's about power and conflict. Let's start with the US-China trade war, which began in 2018. Tariffs, sanctions, chip bans, the tech Cold War is real. And Taiwan is the hotspot. It makes 60% of global semiconductors, and any instability could crash the tech economy. Russia's war in Ukraine? Another game changer. After sanctions, Russia doubled down on BRICS plus trade, especially with India and China. G7, meanwhile, is trying to secure allies. The Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, IPF, includes 13 countries and 40% of global GDP. It's meant to counter China's reach. Then there's PGII, a $600 billion infrastructure initiative launched to rival China's Belt and Road. In BRICS Plus, countries like Iran, Egypt, and Ethiopia bring oil, strategic waterways like the Suez Canal, and Africa's fastest-growing markets. This isn't just a trade war, it's a global chess match. Allies, rivalries, and the chessboard. Now here's where it gets messy. Alliances aren't always clear-cut. India is in BRICS and the Quad with the US and Australia. South Africa flirts with both sides. Brazil? Trades with everyone. The G7 pushes democracy and governance. BRICS Plus pushes sovereignty and state-led growth. Over time, trade routes are shifting, not just by money, but by ideology. So every road, railway, or power deal, it's a geopolitical move. What lies ahead? Scenarios. Let's fast forward. Scenario 1, BRICS Plus wins big. They overcome internal rivalries, launch a BRICS currency or digital payment system, and trade more within the bloc. G7 influence fades. Scenario 2, G7 holds the line. They innovate, lead in semiconductors and AI, and expand influence through IPF and PGII. Scenario 3, split world. One half trades in dollars, the other in BRICS crypto. Two financial systems emerge. Wild cards? Taiwan conflict. Dollar collapse. Global climate crisis. Even green energy alliances could realign trade maps. Tech could tip it too. If China nails Made in China 2025, self-sufficient chips, AI dominance, it's a new game. If the US's $52 billion CHIPS Act succeeds, the West holds the edge. What do you think? Multipolar world equals balance of power or chaos? Drop a comment. We're reading everyone. Conclusion. Your turn in this global story. Alright, we've covered a lot. BRICS Plus is rising fast, challenging G7's old dominance. It's not just a stat war, it's a shift in global power. Who will shape the future of trade? The West with its history, or the East and South with their momentum? Only time will tell. But your understanding, your vote, your investments, your voice, plays a part in this story. So what can you do? Stay informed. Think critically. Question the narrative. If this breakdown helped you understand the global shift, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see this. Drop a comment. BRICS Plus or G7? Who do you think will dominate global trade in 10 years? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.